If you want to automate your job search, this video is for you. If you are new to n8n, no worries. As long as you know how to use ChatGPT, you can build this job search AI agent. In this video, I'll show you how to build your own job search workflow from scratch in 3 simple steps. Step 1. Collect updated job postings automatically from LinkedIn. Step 2. Check if each role actually matches you by comparing it with your resume. Step 3. Generate a professional, tailored cover letter for each suitable job role. That's it. It's that simple. This will be a slightly longer tutorial, but by the end of this video, you'll go from manually applying to jobs to running a full AI-powered application system. So let's get started. First, a quick refresher. This job search n8n workflow needs 3 things to function properly. First, job postings grabbed from LinkedIn. Second, an AI job role scoring system that compares each job with your resume. Third, customized cover letters for each job role. Once these 3 elements are connected, you can feed in any LinkedIn job search link, and the workflow will fetch the description, evaluate your fit, and even prepare the application assets for you. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, that's cool, but so what? I could just apply on LinkedIn myself. And you're right, this basic workflow, pulling jobs, scoring them, and drafting a cover letter isn't going to land you any job by itself. But here's the thing, learning the n8n fundamentals unlocks way more powerful automations. For example, we helped our members to use this exact setup to filter out duplicated listings before they even see them. It helps them to rank opportunities based on their resumes automatically. And what's even better is that it can generate tailored cover letters in seconds instead of hours. So instead of wasting time chasing irrelevant roles or copy-pasting the same application text, you can just focus on only the jobs that actually matter. And that's why this simple workflow matters. It's the foundation for building a full AI-powered job application system. Alright, let's dive into the n8n tutorial now. So we can see there are 3 different sections. 3 different steps. Step 1. So we are going to scrap the jobs from LinkedIn job search using Apify. Then we are going to remove those duplicated search. Second step, we are going to check the job relevance because we would like to see if those job roles are really suitable for you. And I'm going to compare my resume with those job roles. And in step 3, we are going to prepare the cover letter for those job roles that are suitable for me. And then we are going to customize each cover letter for each job role. And then we'll create the Google document and store it to our Google Drive. Alright, so that's it, and let's get started. Alright, so for step 1, first of all, for beginners here, you can see there's a trigger here. It's called schedule trigger. So we can actually search from here, add another trigger, you can see on a schedule. Basically what it means is that we are going to trigger this workflow on schedule. For example, we are going to trigger this workflow once per day, and you can choose different intervals here. For example, we are going to trigger this workflow once per day at midnight. We can choose different time as well, and we can also add different minutes as well. If we want to use this schedule trigger, please remember that we need to enable this and activate this workflow to make it become active, so that this workflow will be triggered automatically. And for tutorial purpose, let me turn it off first. So first of all, we can see the configuration here. We can click execute step, and we can see the output here, like timestamp, readable date, time, etc. And we can see once it's executed successfully, you can see a green check mark. Then next, we are going to get the job records from the Google Sheet because we need to know what kind of job roles that we have already scrapped in our Google Sheet. So we need to use this node to get the record from our Google Sheet first. So we can go to here and search for Google Sheet, this one. Then we can double click it, and then we can go into this, and we can see the first part for the configuration is credential to connect with. We can actually click this drop down menu, create new credential. As we have already created, let me click this pencil at the icon. So it's very easy, you can just sign in with your Google account for this Google Sheet credential. Then for resource, we choose sheet within document. What it means is that we are going to choose a specific sheet in the Google Sheet document. And operation, we choose get roles. So there are so many other operations here. This time we are going to retrieve one or more rows from a sheet, so we're going to choose get rows. For the document, there are 3 different options. You can choose it from list, by URL, by ID. So we can just use from list, which means that it's going to get the Google Sheet from your Google Drive. So we can actually click this icon and you will be directed to this Google Sheet. Please remember, if you get this template, please change it to your own Google Sheet. How you can do this, you can click File, make a copy, and then try to rename it as yours and save it to your Google Drive. And then find your Google Sheet here, because you may not be able to edit our Google Sheet directly. So please remember to make your own Google Sheet here, okay? And then after we select the document, we need to select the sheet. So basically, this is the sheet tab. We are going to choose which is the sheet 1. And we keep the filters empty. For combined filters, we choose and then we can just try to execute step. Nice, so we can see there are 200 items. So these are all the job posts here. And we can see all other columns are collected, like the company, job title, URL, apply URL, etc. So what's next? After we got the records from Google Sheet for existing 200 job roles, we are going to aggregate them and make it become a list. And we're going to compare that list with the newly scrapped job roles from LinkedIn search using Apify. And then we are going to filter out those duplicated job roles and only add the new job roles to our Google Sheet. So again, this is the old list. This is the new list. It means that new minus old. So we only have the new items to be added in the Google Sheet here. So now we're going to aggregate the old list first. So we're going to set a field for this list first. How are we going to do this? We're going to use a node called edit field. So we can see that it's for modifying, adding, and removing item fields. And we can take a look inside. For the mode, we choose manual mapping because we are going to map each field and value manually. And this is the field name. We are going to name it as matching. So this field is going to be called matching. And for the type, there are so many different types, and now we're going to choose the string. For the string value, we would like it to be like this. So first of all, we are going to click this, and I'm going to show how we can create this. So we can actually drag and drop this company. So it is referring to the previous node. For JSON dot, it's always referring to the previous node. And then we are going to put hyphen. For job title, we are going to drag and drop like this as well. So we can see this is the result on the right hand side. Okay, so this will be our new value for the matching. This will be the format. So we can actually click execute step. So for beginners here, you can see on the left hand side is the input. In the middle part is for the configuration, and then on the right hand side is the output. We can see this is the field name and this is the value, and there are 200 items. And now, as I mentioned, we need to aggregate this old list. So we are going to use a node called aggregate, this one. So we are going to aggregate all of them together, and we're going to choose individual fields because we are going to aggregate all individual fields together. And the input field name, we are going to use this matching. We can just drag and drop like this, and then we can execute step. So we can see that it becomes one item. So from 200 items, all of them are aggregated into one single item. So this will be our old job list. And now we're going to get the new job list. So how are we going to get the jobs from LinkedIn job search like this page? Because we cannot scrap directly from LinkedIn, as they don't provide API for us to scrap the job post. So what we are going to use is a tool called Apify. So for Apify, you can think of it like a marketplace for different web scrappers. So you can see there are TikTok scrapper, Google Maps scrapper, Instagram scrapper, etc. And today we are going to use this LinkedIn Jobs Scrapper, PPR. So we can try it for free. And after that, the pricing is $1 per 1,000 results. So we can click try for free. And then we can enter this page. So let's go back to n8n first. So we can add this node by searching for Apify here. Some of you may ask, hey Andy, I cannot search for Apify here. So how are we going to use this API node? We can actually go to app.n8n.cloud/manage. So basically this will be your admin panel. Please remember to use your admin account, your master account for n8n to do this settings change. So we can go to the manage page, workspace settings, and we can scroll down. You can see this verified community nodes. We can enable this and save changes. And after that, you'll be able to search for Apify or other community nodes so that you can use it now. So after you have searched Apify, we can select Run an Actor here. Okay, and we first need to connect with your Apify OAuth 2 account. So first of all, we need to set up your Apify connection. We can actually click Create New Credential. You can choose OAuth 2 and then connect with your own account, and you will be directed to this page. And then just sign in with your account. That's all. That's very easy, much more easier than before. And for resource, we choose actor. For operation, we choose run an actor. You may wonder what exactly is actor. So this kind of scrapper is what actually Apify called actors. So we can click all actors. We can see all different actors here. And we can actually click Apify store. You can see all other different actors here as well. So what it means is that we're going to run an actor, which means that we're going to run that specific scrapper. The next, we are going to select the actor source. So as we have used it recently, we can actually search it from here. What it means is that it's for the recently used scrappers here. Or we can actually choose Apify store actors as well. So for actor, we can actually choose from list. And you can see LinkedIn job scrappers. And these were the scrappers that we used here. So we can actually find the history here. This is our history, the recently used actor. So we can click this link and you'll be redirected to that specific actor. And this is the actor that we're going to use. And next you may wonder how we can actually input this JSON. How are we going to get this JSON? We can actually go here. And when we go to this actor, you can see menu and JSON. When you click JSON, you will be able to see this. The number of count, when we hover over this, you can see what it means is that the number of jobs needed. So this is scrap company details. What it means is that this will require additional scrapping requests for each job record and take longer to scrap. This is referring to the LinkedIn job search URL. So before we copy and paste this, we can actually test manually here. So we can actually paste our LinkedIn job search link. For example, this is our job search link. And then we can paste it here. And for the number of jobs needed, we can actually change it here. And if we want to scrap the company details, we can enable this. So we can go back to JSON. We can see the variables are changed here. So we can actually just copy and paste it here. Okay. So when we have enabled this, what it means that this node will wait for the run to complete first. And then we can leave the timeout as empty. For memory, we choose 1 node to 4 megabytes, which is approximately 1 gigabytes. And then we can click execute step on your side. And we can see that we have already got the output here. Why? Because we have pinned the data for our previous execution. You may wonder, hey Andy, why are we going to pin the data? Because during our setup for this workflow, we may need to debug and run the workflows many times. If we keep running this node many times, it may use up many limits and token for the scrapper on Apify. So in order to save the cost, we can actually pin the data here. We can right click and pin the data. So we can actually make sure that we have the same output for our future node development. And on your side, remember, you can unpin it and try to run it on your own. And then again, for us, we pin this data because it's easier for us to build and debug the workflows. And secondly, it's easier for us to show you as a demo purpose. So we can run this node here. You will see node executed successfully because anyways, we got the output here already. And these are the details scrapped from the LinkedIn job search URL using Apify. And now we are going to get the dataset item. And we are going to get this node by searching for Apify. We can click it here. And then we can choose get dataset items. And again, connect with your own Apify account. Resource, we choose dataset. Operation, we choose get items. And dataset ID, what we are going to do is just drag and drop. What we are going to do is just drag and drop this part. That's easy. And for limit, we choose 100. We can click execute step. And again, we have pinned the data. Easier for us to debug. So we can click execute step here. All right, executed successfully, and we got 100 items here. And please remember on your side, while you are building this workflow, you can pin the data. But when you're trying to run the workflow, you need to activate the workflow and unpin the nodes so that you can have new data every single time. All right, next, so we have already got the old list for our job roles, and we got the new job roles scrapped from the LinkedIn job search using Apify, and we are going to compare them. And we are going to remove the duplicated jobs. We're only going to add the new jobs to our Google Sheet database. So what we are going to do, we are going to search for a node called filter, this one. And then for the condition, we are going to use this. Let me enlarge this. So we will go to aggregate here. We are going to drag and drop this. But now we are going to change this item to first, like this. Because this first method ensures the filter node checks each new job against the complete list of our old job listings to avoid sending duplicated job roles to our Google Sheet database. So we can actually add this. Then we are going to choose array. This time we are not going to choose string because for this aggregate item, it is an array. So we are going to choose array does not contain. And this time we're going to enlarge this. Again, it is similar to the format that we set here and in edit fields, which is the company and also the job title. So what we are going to do here, we are going to just drag and drop the company name from the previous node and then add hyphen and then drag and drop the title. Okay, so this is the one. Remember, this is referring to the newly scrapped job roles from Apify. JSON dot is always referring to the previous node, and our previous node is the get dataset items node using the Apify node. What it means is that these are the company names and the job titles scrapped from LinkedIn job search URL using Apify. Okay, and then we have the old list, we have the new list, and we're going to click execute step. And you can see all the items got discarded because we got the job roles already in our Google Sheet. All right, so let me try to remove the job post here first, and we can run the whole workflow again. We can see there are just 101 items, and we can set a field again, try to create the new aggregated old job list here, and then aggregate now. And then we are going to use Apify to get the newly searched job posts from LinkedIn search, get the dataset items, and now we're going to run this filter node. We can click execute step, and we can see that this time we are going to keep 99 items, just one duplicated items. So for this filter node, the condition is that if the old list does not contain the newly searched job post from the LinkedIn search URL using Apify, we're going to keep the newly searched job roles. And then for those duplicated ones, we're going to discard them. So for this new 99 items, we're going to add them to our Google Sheet. So we're going to add the Google Sheet node. Again, connect with your own Google Sheet account. And this time for resource, we choose sheet within document again. And for the operation, we choose append row. So for document and sheet, again, connect with your own correct Google Sheet and also the correct sheet tab. And this time we're going to choose map each column manually for the mapping column mode. So we can see company, job title, URL, apply URL, description, location, post at what time. We are going to just drag and drop the relevant part. So for this company name, just drag and drop like this. And then for job title, is this. URL is referring to this. JSON.link, apply URL is referring to this one, and it's empty for now. And for description, we're just going to drag this description HTML. Location is this, and then post at what time is referring to this. And then the posting date, we can just drag and drop this. Okay, so now we can actually click execute step. Great, it's done. we can actually check our Google Sheet here. We can see that the newly scrapped job roles are added to our Google Sheet database. Alright, so that's it for the first step. Alright, after step 1, we are going to talk about step 2. We are going to check the job relevance and see if they are really suitable for you. So first of all, we are going to get the job roles from the Google Sheet database. So we are going to compare the job description with your own resume and see if those job descriptions are really relevant to your own experience and skill set. And we are going to use this AI agent to compare the job description and your own resume and give it a score. If the score is equal to 3 or above, we are going to process it further to step 3 to prepare the cover letter. If not, we are going to just update the score to the Google Sheet. By doing that, we can focus more resources and time on the job roles that are relevant to us, that are suitable to us. Okay, so let's get started for step 2. So here is the schedule trigger again, but this time we're going to choose another trigger interval. We're going to choose minutes and we put 5 minutes between triggers. What it means is that we're going to trigger this workflow every 5 minutes. You may wonder, why are we going to trigger that frequently? Because for this Google Sheet node, you can see that we are going to get the first matching row. So we are going to get 1 row each time. So for this workflow, we are going to run for 1 row every single time. So that's why we're going to have a shorter time interval for each trigger. So we can actually execute this step first, and then we can search for the Google Sheet node. And this time again, connect with your own credential, choose Sheet within document. And this time for the operation, we choose get rows because we are going to get the rows from the Google Sheet. And then for the document and all the Sheet tab, choose the same one as well. But this time we need to add the filter. We're only processing the rows with empty score. So we're going to add score as a column and leave the value as empty. And again, for option, we are going to add an option called return only first matching row. So what it does is that we are going to get just 1 row each time. So what we are going to do that, we are going to just process 1 matching row each time. So we can click execute step. You can see on the right hand side on the output, there's just 1 item here. And this is row number 3. Because for row number 2, we already got the score here. So the first matching row is row number 3. Next, we are going to get our resume. So for example, let's say we have this resume sample here and we store it in our Google Documents. So for example, it's my background, my skill set, personal experience, and then for technology, proficiencies, educations, and credentials. And by the way, these are not real, just for sample purpose. So what we're going to do that, we're going to retrieve this resume in n8n. And we are going to use this node called Google Doc. So we're going to search for Google Docs here. And now we're going to connect the Google Docs account to your n8n. So we need to add the credentials here. So we can click create new credential. It's a little bit more complicated than Google Sheet, but still manageable. So first of all, we need to sign in with your Google account. Then you can see OAuth redirect URL, client ID, client secret key here. So first of all, we need to go to Google Cloud Console. And then we create a new project here. For example, we have n8n demo here. Then we can search for Google Docs API. This is the one. And we need to enable this API. After that, you will be able to see API enabled. Then we can click Manage. Then we can click Credentials, Create Credentials, OAuth Client ID. And we can choose Web Application. For example, we can name it as n8n Demo version 5. And for the authorized redirect URLs, is where we are going to copy this and paste it here. And then we can click Create. And after that, we got the client ID. Copy here and paste it here. For client secret key, copy from here and paste it here. Then that's all set. The next, for the resource, we choose document, and operation we choose get. For document ID or URL, we are just pasting the URL here. So this is our Google Docs URL. We're just pasting here. So for this Google Doc node, again, we can search it from here. We can just choose get a document. Alright, last but not least, we can enable this simplify feature. So what it means is that we're going to return a simplified version of the response instead of the raw data. So we can click execute step. On the right hand side, you can see it is the details that we got from the resume. Then the next step, we're going to build an AI agent that's able to help us score the job roles by comparing my resume with the job description. So we can search for AI agent here. This is the node that we are going to add. We can rename here. For source for prompts, we're going to choose define below. That's where we're going to add the prompt here. So we can click expression and launch this. So for the prompt, compare the following job description with the provided resume. Evaluate how well the candidate's resume matches the job requirements. Give a relevant score from 1 to 5, where 1 equals to very poor match, 2 weak match, 3 moderate match, 4 strong match, 5 excellent match. And only provide the numeric score 1 to 5 as the output. So for the job description, we're going to get from here. Because it's stored in our Google Sheet, what we need to do is just drag and drop this here. Okay? And here for the resume, we can just go to get resume and then drag and drop this part. And you can see that, hey Andy, why it is showing as get resume instead of just JSON dot? So actually both works because JSON dot is referring to the previous node. If we want to specifically refer to a specific node, we can just put the node name here. And then for the first item, what it means is that it's going to get the first item of that particular content. Then we can see there are 2 more items. This is a chat model and this is the output parser. For the output parser, we need to enable this require specific output format in order to be able to add this output parser. So let me unlink it first. So when we click this output parser, you can see 3 different items. And for simplicity, we're going to use the structured output parser here. So basically, it's like giving an example for this AI agent to let it know what kind of output that we want. What is the format? Okay, so for the schema type, we'll choose generate from JSON example, and this will be just a simple JSON example. For the field name, score, and then it is an integer value. Okay, then for the chat model, it's very easy. We can edit from here. There are so many other models that we can choose from. And the most common one, of course, we can use OpenRouter. OpenRouter, you can think of it like an aggregator for different chat models. And of course, it's easier, of course, to use OpenAI chat model as well. So in our demo purpose, we are going to use this OpenAI chat model. Again, connect with your own OpenAI account. We can just input our API key here. And then for model, we choose GPT-5 Nano. And now let's execute this step. Okay, so we can see that the score equals to 3. In this step, we're going to process and prepare the cover letter for job roles that scores 3 or higher. So we are going to use this node to set different branches. So for example, we can search for if node here. Okay, so what it means is that for the condition, if this score, we can drag and drop like this. If this score is greater than or equal to, we can choose number is greater than or equal to 3, then it is going to the true branch. Let's try to execute the step. So you can see it is going to the true branch. And after that, we are going to execute the step 3 to generate cover letter for that. If it is lower than 3, then it's going to the false branch, which is just updating the score directly. So for example, let me try to change it to 4. Okay, so you can see it's going to the false branch here, and we are going to add a note called Google Sheet because we are going to update the score here, and then we can choose update row in sheet. Again, for the settings, credential settings, it's the same, just choose the same one. And this time we just need to choose update row for the operation. Again, same document, same sheet tab, and we choose map each column manually. Column to match on, we choose row number. So for this row number, how are we going to get this? Because we cannot see any fields here. So first of all, we can add the curly bracket here, and then we can actually choose get rows in sheets, and then dot items, and then dot JSON, and then dot row number. Okay, we can choose from here, or we can actually use another method, we can actually get it from here. So we can actually go to this. We can drag and drop like this and just copy this part, and then we can paste it here. That's also another method to get this row number. Then for the score, we can just drag and drop like this. Okay, and then we can just execute step. Oh, error. Let me try to remove that and try to run this node again. Okay, so you can see the score here. Okay, so let me change it back to 3. So let's suppose that we are going to prepare the cover letter for this job. So we are going through the true branch to step 3. So let's get started. Alright, step 3, we are going to prepare the cover letter for those job roles that are matching to us, that are suitable for us. So for the score 3 or above, we're going to draft the cover letter. And we are going to do this with this cover letter AI agent. So we are going to search for another AI agent node and add it here. So for the source for prompt, we choose define below. Let me show you the expression for the prompt. We can launch it here. Generate a professional cover letter tailored to this specific job description, highlighting the most relevant skills and experiences from the resume. The cover letter should be clear, concise, short, and professional. Address the key requirements of the job description. Demonstrate enthusiasm and fit for the role. Use the candidate's experience from the resume. So there are 2 parts: job description, resume. So for the job description part, we can expand this get rows, and then we can drag and drop this. Okay, so that is the job description. For the resume part, we can go to get resume and then drag and drop the content. Again, we can change the item to first here. Don't forget the bracket, because we are going to get the first item for this content. It's similar to the previous AI agent. We need 2 things: this chat model and also the output parser. So again, remember to enable this require specific output format. So let's take a look at this structured output parser first. Again, for the schema type, we choose generate from JSON example, and we just need to provide the cover letter. And it is in string type. So what it means is that for the output for the cover letter, it will be in string. For chat model, again, we're going to use OpenAI, and this time we're going to use GPT-5 Mini. Alright, so we can click execute step. Okay, we got the cover letter here. So what's next? We are going to add that cover letter into Google Documents. So we need to create a document first. So again, we can go to search for Google Doc, and then this time we are going to create a document. Again, continue with your own Google Doc account. We choose create as the operation, and drive name, just choose your own drive, for example my drive, or share it with me. And then for title, we can customize it, for example cover letter. And then for this part, we can actually drag and drop for the company name. And then for this part, we can drag and drop for the job title like this. Okay, then we can click execute step. Nice, so we got the output, and we are going to use this ID later. And now, after we have created the Google Doc, we need to update that Google document. So again, search for Google Doc, and we're going to update a document here. So same credential setting, document as a resource, update as the operation, and then this is the document ID that I was mentioning. We are going to drag and drop this part because we are going to update that specific Google document. And we are going to enable this simplify feature. We need to enable this simplify feature because we're going to return a simplified version of the response instead of the raw data. For the object, we choose text because we are going to insert the text part. And then for the action, we choose insert. And then for the insert segment, we choose body. And then we're going to insert at end of specific position. For the text part, we are going to add this. We can just drag and drop this cover letter. Okay, then we can click execute step. Okay, and now after we have created the Google Doc, updating the Google Doc, we are going to save that Google Doc in a specific folder in Google Drive. So we are going to add a node called Google Drive here, this one, and then we are going to choose move file. Okay, again, we need to set up your credentials first. It's similar to Google Doc, so you can keep the same client ID and serial key, but we need to go back to Google Cloud Console and enable and search for Google Drive API, And then we need to enable this API as well and sign in with your Google account. All right, so we have client ID, client security key, and also your Google account sign up. Then that's it. That's how you can set up your Google Drive credentials. For resource, we choose file. Operation, we choose move. For file ID, we are going to drag and drop this Google document. So we can actually click this and you will be redirected to this Google document. You can see the cover letter here. For the parent drive, you can just choose your own Google Drive that you want to save that file to. And then you can put this URL for the parent folder. So for example, we can also choose it from list, choose it by ID, and this time we choose by URL. So we can actually click this and you'll be redirected to the Google Drive here. This is the folder. Okay, then we can click execute step. All right, then we can actually refresh it and you can see that this is the cover letter that we just created and this is where we are going to store. All right, and last but not least, we are going to update the score and the cover letter path. So we are going to add the Google Sheet note here. This is the Google Sheet note, and then we are going to update row. Same credentials setup. We are choosing sheet within document, update row. So what we are doing here, we are going to paste the Google Sheet URL, and of course you can choose it from list. So this is actually the Google Sheet. You can just click this. This is the same Google Sheet that we used, and then this is the sheet tab. It's the same. And this time again, we are going to map each column manually. For the column to match on, we choose row number. It's the same as the previous one. For the row number, we can just drag and drop like this. Okay. For the score, we can get it from here. Check score and then drag and drop here. Okay. Last but not least, for the cover letter path. So first of all, we need to input this Google document first, like https://doc.google.com/document/d, and then we add the ID for that Google document. We can just drag and drop like this. Okay, and then that's how it works. We can execute step, and on the right hand side you can see output, and then we can go back to the Google Sheet and you can see the score is updated, the cover letter path is updated as well. Okay, so that's it for today. We've covered 3 major steps for this job search AI agent. So first, we are going to get the new jobs from LinkedIn search URL using Apify. Then we are going to check the job relevance and see if they are suitable for you. If yes, then we are going to prepare the cover letter to customize for that job roles for you. Alright, so basically this is how it works. Hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I will see you in our next video.